sky, sunshine, I'm thrilled to be home again. Wipe those eyes, don't cry, oh baby, I'm home again. I'm in a better place, 'cause the smile on your face, nothing can take me away. And if that ship starts sailing, well, they'll have to send me to jail.
Started with Tini Gray. He's going to share a little bit how to have a solid work ethic when it comes to building your career and how to get started. Because I have a quote that says, "If you cruise, you lose, and if you drive, you thrive." So a lot of us, we tend to cruise a lot, and we don't get things done. We don't prioritize things that we need to do, and we kind of like just maybe procrastinate and leave it for the next day. But it doesn't work like that in the music industry. You got to stay on top of your game, and you got to be ahead of everything. So, but that's what we want to teach. So we're very excited. How about put your hands together for Tini Gray?
On behalf of my wife and our daughter, it's a pleasure to be here. We have 4 kids. Isaiah, Micah, and Jonah. They're at home right now. They're our boys, and we have our little girl, Kayla, who is with us today. So, strong work ethic. When Tui asked me to do this, I was just trying to think of like, wow, that's a hard subject to do, because it all comes down to integrity, and everybody struggles with integrity, no matter what. No matter how good your integrity is, you always come across different choices every single day. Should I do this? Something's got to give up. Am I doing the right thing, period, for principle, or am I doing the right thing for my career, or for my family, etc. Everything is all about making good decisions every single day. And I'm just here to tell my story, my family's story, because that's the best way I feel like I learned about, building my own work ethic. Now, I'll tell you a little bit about myself. I perform like 300 gigs, over 300 gigs a year. So I feel like I play music every single day. Like this whole summer, my wife can tell you, I hardly see the family, and it's just because it's just the career that I've chosen. I was doing something else before I did music, but when I fell into music, I didn't know what I was getting into. But when I did, you just gotta run with it, indulge, and just make a career out of it. So I'm a singer-songwriter. I have a couple of albums under my belt, and I sing a lot of events. So I perform a lot of private events, like weddings, corporate events, anything, funerals, bar mitzvahs. There's so many people out there that want to be entertained, or they want to be inspired somehow by music. And so there is a demand for that. Just some people may think, well, being a musician or an artist is so tough because there's so many out there, like you'll never stand out. But let me tell you this, there's always something to do in the music industry, whether you're a singer-songwriter, producer, somebody who's like, just putting up the sound system, the sound tech guy, there's always all kinds of jobs. But what you guys want to do, you guys want to be in front of, behind the microphone, singing out to people, inspire them. There's a lot of work, It all comes down to like supporting yourself as well, right? Making a career out of music, not just like singing and then you gotta go work somewhere else, Like, if you guys are really passionate about what you want to do, think about, what am I gonna do as a career, with this thing, So you really gotta dive into the business of music. Everyday life, your everyday situation. What does it look like when I wake up? What does it look like before I go to bed? And that's important for me. So, just step back. Now, you guys probably read that flyer. I'm the son of a gentleman who is pretty well known where I'm from, in Samoa. His name is Jerome Gray. Now, my dad, he's a very interesting character. He's a lot of fun. Tui knows, he plays music with us at Disneyland, at Trader Sam's, But he's very special, I must say. And out of all the singers, I'm not being biased, out of all the singers I've known or listened to, I've studied, he has to be one of my most favorite singers I've, experienced. He's an interesting guy, but like vocally, man, he'll grab your attention. He has that it factor. Now, it factors come in many different forms. It could be the voice, it could be your presence, the way you make somebody feel when you talk, or whatever it is. But him, it's his voice, and that was always inspiring for me when I was young. But my dad, He comes from a family of 21 brothers and sisters. Growing up in Samoa, that's like kind of normal. All right. Now, 7 of those people were adopted, because some people, hey, can you take care of my kids? So that's how it was. But my dad grew up in a musical family, as I did. And he had sisters that were all singing together, and he was always the young boy in the family. And he was always inspired to sing. But every time he tried to sing, he sounded like a broken tin can. I don't know. That's what they call him. Leo Akini Apa. They call him like, he has a voice of a tin can every time he sang. So everybody in the neighborhood saw this kid, and he was like, "Don't sing. You sound awful." But it was just that rasp that people were not used to back in the day. So when he was 10 years old, he told me that he'd like go and take a peek at my grandfather, playing music elsewhere. Or he's always trying to like, he saw this movie. I don't know who the opera singer one was, the one that sings "Ah solo mio, da 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 da." Whoever that is, there was a movie that was shown in Samoa back in the day. He saw that music and he saw this guy. Was like, I want to sing just like that. So you can imagine this little kid in his lava lava doing the umu every Sunday. Everywhere he goes, he's singing "Ah solo mio." Everybody in the neighborhood thought he was crazy. But the thing was, he knew that he wanted to be like that person. So he started to sing opera, just making everyday chores everywhere he was going. And so he knew what he wanted to do. He loved singing, that was his passion. So he grew up, started singing private events, picked up the guitar, like my grandfather had a 4-string guitar lying around, and he started playing only 4 strings. And that's how he became a great ukulele player, because he only played on a 4-string guitar. He didn't know how to play a 6-string, so he just developed it on a 4-string guitar, but he used to get beat up a lot for touching my grandfather's guitar. That's how it was. He was like, "Don't touch my stuff." But as my grandfather, discovered later on that my dad had a talent, like, this kid can do something. So he started taking him along on these gigs and set up the equipment or play ukulele for me, play so-and-so. And so my dad developed that type of education as opposed to, he was in a private school. But what he really wanted to do was develop this passion about music. So living on an island, in America, there's so much stuff to do over here. We're like, you gotta make, decisions and stay focused on what you want to do. Don't get distracted, So in Samoa, it's easier to focus on what you want to do because there's not that many distractions. There's not much to do on an island except whatever you want to do or drink. So we'll stay away from the drinking part. But, he focused on that. He became one of the best entertainers out of Samoa. And that's not an understatement. Tui can vouch for this. He has, you go to Samoa, he's kind of a household name. He's like the Elvis Presley of Samoa. And it's because he's developed his talent, he's turned it into a passion, and he's turned it into a career. And that's what I'm trying to get to right now. And he's used it to support his family. He sent us to private school most of my life, all through music. And a lot of people in other different industries, when they have kids and some of the kids are like, "I want to get into music," they're like, "Don't do that. There's no hope in that. That won't feed the family." My dad is like that. Even though he was in the music industry, he told me never to get into music. Ironically, because it was tough. It was tough for him. And the reason why it was tough for him, was because he only knew what he knew. He wasn't surrounded by so many different tools like we have nowadays, the internet, little workshops like this, giant seminars, concerts, all kinds of stuff that could help you, blossom into the person you want to be, a musician, your artist, or developing your artistry. Now, later on, like I said, my dad, he developed the skill. He started touring all over. Samoa recognized us, and they wanted him to become the spokesperson of Samoa. He wrote a song called "We Are Samoa" that became the national anthem of the country. Everywhere he goes, it's still popular today. And then he started touring. Okay, now this was interesting. When he was playing in Samoa, he was a big fish in a small pond. A visitor, tourist came down and saw this guy. He's like, "Man, you're good. Can you come down and play for my club in California?" So I was born in Orange County, and that's how we got here. In the 70s, my father and my mother moved because somebody saw him perform in Samoa. So they came, and you can imagine a Samoan come up in his lava off the plane, no ideas, never seen a freeway, never seen a building higher than two stories, and he come into the islands, and he's trying to find this club. And he's on the payphone in Orange County somewhere trying to dial the number of this card. And you know the automated operator? This is funny. So the voice phone is like, sorry, this is the wrong number you're dialing. And my dad is yelling at the lady thinking it's a real voice. That's how fresh off the boat he was. And I always laugh when he tells me that story. But there's so many more stories like that. But my dad was determined to make it happen here in California. He was one of the first Samoans to come here in California here in the 70s, along with Nonosina and so many other families, but they all came here together. You know, everybody came in a different boat, different time. So my dad, he thought he was a big shot. He went to the club and he started performing, and everybody's like, oh, cool, cool. Boom, next act comes up. There's these Mexican guys, and they come up and they're rocking out. And my dad's jaw dropped. He was like, oh man, he just felt small again. Because now he's in a big pond and he's a small fish again. But he was not going to quit and go back to Samoa. He was determined. That's how he has a very competitive spirit, and that's what I love about my dad. From there, you guys heard of Tony Bennett, the jazz singer Tony Bennett. Tony Bennett has a voice trainer. He lives all the way in Hollywood. My dad found his number. He caught the bus all the way from Orange County to Hollywood, like twice a week, to go see this guy, to develop his vocals. He was like, man, I'm going to be the best singer I could be. You know, he started jamming with all these different musicians to try to be a better guitarist, better musician, understand the industry a little bit more. He started recording more. And all these albums, they started becoming hits back in Samoa, but never here. That's the struggle that we have as Polynesians, even up until today, is how to make it as a musician, how to stand out as a Pacific Islander in a Western world, here in California, mainland USA. So my dad, like I said, very big back home, but over here, he's like all of us, we're all working hard to become better. So that's kind of a little bit about him. Now, I was born in '76 in Orange County, but I grew up in Samoa. We all moved back to Samoa. My dad believed in us growing up in the islands. And so, later on we moved to Hawaii. I grew up there during high school, 4 brothers and sisters. One of my brothers, his name is Monty, he plays for a group called Common Kings. We're all experiencing the same thing that my dad is going through. At a young age, I always wanted to be a cartoonist. I always wanted to work for Disneyland, ironic. I had a passion. I saw this Mickey Mouse thing in the newspaper, and I was like, man, I want to draw that. I started drawing it, and I realized I was such a good, I was a decent drawer. And so I started developing this talent, and I knew I wanted to become an animator for Disney. Until I went to high school, and then, my parents, they don't have that experience with college and all that stuff, so we had to depend on the counselor. And the counselor told my dad, no, there's no money in animation. You should go into architecture if he likes drawing. So I was depressed. So I went to architecture school. I studied, in the middle of my architecture program, Beauty and the Beast comes out, and all this money is being made, and Disney is pumping out animation like nothing. I'm like, what am I doing here? So, anyways, but as a son of a Samoan chief, you need to follow what the family wants you to do, right? Which is tough. So I got my architecture degree. I put it in my back pocket. I went to Hawaii and I started working in an architecture firm. I didn't know that I really wanted to do music until halfway through my architecture program. I was so
bored of class. I'm like, I wasn't passionate about it. I liked drawing, but I wasn't that passionate about what I was doing. And I didn't know what I wanted to do and I didn't know how to play the guitar up until I was 19. Saw somebody play it at the dorms. I'm playing Redemption Song by Bob Marley. And hey, teach me that. So it wasn't cool when you saw your dad play music. That's the thing, that's why. I never learned from my dad, but because you always saw work and music, and you just want to ignore it, it's work, I don't want to deal with that. So somebody taught me how to play music, and then all of a sudden, I never stopped putting on the guitar. I just kept on playing up until this day. So I knew I had it in me, because it was in my blood. And so, but I made it a fun thing, so I was just cruising with the friends, and everywhere we go, we just play guitar and sing. But I was working in an architecture firm, and I was depressed, man. I was sitting at a desk every day, drafting. I was designing, working with the designers. We were designing buildings in Disneyland. Also another ironic thing. We were building
buildings at Disneyland. But I was not happy, you know. During breaks, I'd walk out and I'd just like take long walks, and like I'd come back. My supervisor was like, "Where were you?" It's like, I couldn't sit. Like, so I just knew it wasn't for me. I couldn't see myself there for many years. You know, I saw this guy's working in our office for 60 years. He's been there for a long time. I was like, I can't see myself doing that. So I quit. And my mom was going to kill me because all those years of school, architecture school, and then I was going to quit. But the thing was, I knew I wanted to do something with music and entertainment. I was living in Hawaii, in Waikiki, and I decided, like, okay, entertainment starts with hospitality, you know, treating people. So I worked in the tourist industry, and I started taking people out on ATV rides and horseback riding at the Kualoa Ranch. I did that for a whole year, trying to understand what the tourist industry is about, how to treat people, and like what the entertainment industry is like. Then I started playing music in Waikiki, doing the hukilau and tiny bubbles. And that was kind of like my education of how to entertain people, you know, timings of shows and all that, and all that wonderful stuff in Waikiki. Now, later on, I started developing an urge to sing in front of people, like with the band, singing contemporary soul, R&B music. So I joined a group called Rain, and we started performing all over the place. And I never sang solo until recently. So I was always in the group, singing in a band, and I was in real estate at the same time when we moved back to the mainland. But I want to tell you about the time when I actually decided to make music my full-time career. My dad was playing the Mai Tai bar, you know, for many years. He was like the #1 guy there on Fridays, always bringing in everybody, and income was coming in, people loved him, until he had a stroke on stage. So like in the middle of this performance, you know, his mind just started to blank out. He started speaking like in tongues, you know, everybody was like, what's going on? He's not sounding right. Ambulance came, they took him to the hospital. He was in the middle of a stroke. So his whole left side was numb, couldn't speak. Took 2 years to develop his skills again. So now he's back to normal. Thankfully to music. He started playing ukulele and singing a lot more. He's doing a lot better now. But how you guys doing? Hello, welcome. Nice shirt. So, Mai Tai bar knew that I sang, and they said, "Hey, why don't you call this guy and see if he can come and sit in?" So I said, "Okay, I'll do it. I'll fill in my dad's shoes." So the minute I got there, I sat down and I realized I was by myself, and I've never sang by myself, ever. And I was sweating bullets. I was so like nervous. I'm like, I'm about to sing in front of these people. I've never sung by myself ever. So first couple of songs, I'm like, oh my gosh, what songs do I know? Like started singing all these tiny bubble songs. I'm like, what am I doing? So that was a learning experience for me. People started requesting songs. I'd go home and work on it, you know, work at it, building my talent. At first I knew like 10 songs. Now I know over like 500 songs. But it all started that day. You know, you don't realize how much you don't know until you're like, okay, I'm gonna go for it. You know, you just gotta build that courage. You step up to the mic and do it. And if you fall, okay, go home, practice, come back, get better. Every week I got better and better. So they started me on a Monday. I was playing with NFL football, the NFL football going on the TV. You know, so thankfully the NFL was saving me because nobody was paying attention to me. I was just singing and like, okay, practice right on stage, get better. So as I was getting better, the manager was like, man, this guy is sounding good. Can we put him on the Fridays now? So I went on Fridays, and I've been there ever since, up to this day. So like they'll have me in there once in a while. Mai Tai bar calls me, hey Tini, can you come back? I'm at the point right now in my career where I have to turn down a lot of gigs. I was just telling Tini the other day, is like we're getting so many calls, is like I have to turn down a lot of work. And then at first it was like, oh man, this is great, now I get to share my talent. Now it's all about, man, like how do I kind of control what's coming in, pick and choose, and that's a great problem to have as an artist, right? That's where you want to be. Now you guys probably never heard of me before, and that's fine because I will take a solid career over fame, you know, any day. I have 4 kids, a wonderful wife that I need to help support, you know, so like I made this a full-time career. I'm making more than I would if I was working in architecture, honestly. And it all comes down to like my desire. Okay, first I had a passion for music, then I had the desire to push it forward and learning all the skills, to become a better musician. And now it's out of necessity, that's helping me take it to that next level and help me become a better artist, better musician, better provider for my family. Now that I'm a different age, you guys are young, and don't take anything for granted. Learn as much as you can and work hard at it, I was at that age where I'm like, yeah, one day, maybe next year, but next year it turned into like 37 years later. That's how old I am right now. I'm 37, and I'm still kicking, and I'm happy where I'm at right now, Honestly, it would be great if I could tour a little bit more. I would love to go to France and different parts of the world and share my personal music, but I feel like I'm getting there, But I'm making decisions every single day because, my kids, I want to be there for my kids. I don't want to just leave and and then never have a dad. So if the opportunity is right, if the time is right, I'm going to step out and do that. Now, a few things. You have any questions so far, by the way? That's just kind of like a little bit of what, what I've been through. But you guys have any questions so far before I move forward? There's something I want to share with you after this. No? All right. Now, you guys know that Uncle Tui also performs at Disneyland, right? Does a lot of gigs as well. Of course he does a million things. I can't even count the things that he does. I'm surprised that he even has time to play music. But he's an excellent musician, okay? So many great musicians out there. Vaya works with us at Downtown Disney as well. I knew Vaya a couple of years ago. He's his sister's married to my brother, and I always heard a lot of great things about Vaya. I was like, man, this guy can play guitar. I was like, oh, cool. So we started playing with him, and I was like, man, this guy can play. But I knew he also wanted to perform more, be out there on stage, and he wanted to know, he wanted me to give him some tips. I said, well, bud, you gotta smile a little bit more. You guys know Vaya, he's I love Vaya, man, but I told him, smile a little bit more and be entertaining. So that's what I want to talk about, because there are different aspects. What are your strengths? What do you think your strengths are as an artist? Is it the singing? Is it the writing? Or is it your ability to connect with the audience? What do you think?
For me, I think it's my ability to connect with the audience, and I think I'm strong in a voice. I just don't know how to use it.
You don't know how to use it. Okay. So you're talking about a technical approach, like you want to get there better. You want to be better as a singer, right? But your strength is connecting with the audience. So, and how do you think you do that?
Through lyrics of the song choices that I use.
Okay.
The songs that I use, they actually have a message.
Okay.
Sometimes. So
I think every song has a message, even if the message is just like hang out or whatever, So, well, that's good. I'm assuming a lot of your songs probably have a deeper meaning, right? Okay. Do you write too?
No, I think it's more like how I said Alan Stone. I just choose which songs I feel would help the audience understand where I'm coming from. It's the songs that I choose. It's not only the artist trying to get his message out, it's me too.
It's your interpretation of his song as well. Have you seen Alan Stone live?
Yes,
He's
twice.
great.
Yeah.
Now, what about you, brother? What do you think your strengths are?
I think I can connect with the audience, because sometimes I get them to sing along. Sometimes.
Yeah, that's good. Well, connecting with the audience is probably one of the most important things you want to do, no matter how you do it. But if they're paying attention to you, that's it. You want to capture it in the palm of your hand, right? That's what you want to do, as opposed to just showing up and playing music and then there was no relationship there the whole time. We all struggle, as artists to do that every single day. Especially me, because I perform almost every day. It's you keep forgetting sometimes. You just want to show up at the gig, perform, and leave, But I love that. Connecting with the audience is very big for me as well. What about you, sister? Awesome. How many songs have you written? A lot? Like 20, 50?
More than 20.
That's awesome. Good for you. Have you recorded all of them? It is, but there's a lot of, there's a lot of ways to do it too. So, well, you gotta win this project then, man. So you can get sponsored. Either way, even if none of that happens, there's always a way. So let us know if you need help, moving forward. We have a big network of engineers and producers who work cost effectively, so to help you as well. So, and I love to see what kind of lyrics that you have as well, new songs and all that. So that's awesome. So that's another way to connect with audiences, lyrics, right? Now for me, I wanted to write songs, but I didn't know how. My dad could knock out songs like that, just like he, it just came naturally. And then my brother, who was like 8 years younger than me, it came naturally to him. And I'm like, man, I didn't get that gene. I couldn't write a song to save my life. I was so frustrated. And then one day, I just went to the bookstore. And as cheesy as it may sound, but I was at Barnes & Noble every day trying to find the right book on how to write a song. And I think I just needed to simplify it a little bit more by doing that, So what are the 10 steps to writing a good song? And that's what I found. I read 5, 6, 7 different books, and then I kind of took the essence of what they were saying and made it my own. And that's how I was inspired to write my first song. But it all came down to not just okay, today I'm going to write a song. What is it going to be about? It all came down to my inspiration, and that was my wife and my kids. So I thought back when we first met as kids, when we were 15 years old, met in church, and I was like, oh, that was one of the best moments of my life. I knew I was going to marry that girl. So I took that feeling, and I elaborated, on paper, and using the 10 steps, the proper way to do it, so how to write a song. And I was very proud when I wrote my first song. I sang it to her, I recorded it, and I recorded an EP. The following year, I recorded a 12-song album. I just took one song and kept on practicing and practicing and practicing. Out of those 12 songs, I probably wrote 20 songs. But I took kind of the best out of those and developed those into a song, into an album. And I'm still writing up until this day. So don't stop writing. If you guys should start. That's the cool thing about it. Take an Alan Stone song and rewrite it in your own words. Even if it sounds oh man, it doesn't sound cool, but just start writing. That's the whole idea. Start something. Okay. Work ethic is kind of an important thing to have in everyday life, not just the music industry, right? I mean, home. It took a long time for me to develop my own work ethic because my wife, we developed our relationship as we were younger, and there was a lot of things that I needed work, but if you have a strong partner or support, like your family, your parents, especially your family members, they need to be there to support you because honestly, you can't do it all by yourself. A lot of people may think, oh yeah, I'm Superman or I'm Superwoman, I can do it by myself, but you're gonna get burnt out. So it's always good to have a support system, whether a best friend, your mom, your better half, whatever it is. Bounce ideas back and forth. Honestly, I know I wrote those songs about my wife and my children, but I also wrote it with my wife. So she's an English teacher, and so I'm not the best grammatical person, but she was able to help form these songs with me, and we became co-writers. And because we went into the music industry together, it strengthened our relationship. We both followed the same path. She was teaching and doing other things. I was doing music. But when we finally worked together and chose a path to walk together, it strengthened our relationship. We know how to work better together now. That's another good thing about the music industry. Teamwork is so important, with each other, with your mentors. But once you get out to the real world, it's all about networking. You gotta start building your alliances, your friends, producers, artists, other artists. You gotta collaborate, writing together, singing together. And that's the only way you can help get your name out there as well as an artist. Do things. Give me a call if you want to write a song, or if you want to do a YouTube thing. Let's record a song. Maybe we'll do a Christmas song or something, right? Yeah, you just kind of want to be friends with everybody out there. Uncle Tui, all kinds of programs that he's developing, not just this, but also at the festivals. Go out there and help out the community. Be involved. Get your name out there. Little things to help develop your work ethic. Small things like shaking somebody's hand. A strong grip. Don't crush them, but you can always tell somebody, what their personality is like by their handshake. If it's very timid, It's like, you know, this person is, whatever. But if it's nice and strong, you know this person is like means, his word is his bond. That's how it is normally. I get a sense about somebody's personality when I shake their hand or like their integrity. And when you're walking, that's another thing too. They're just walking like no purpose. But if you're walking with direction, it's like, oh, this guy means business. He's going somewhere. He's going to do something. So like change your habits every single day. I know it's hard for us island boys. Islanders in general. Everybody's lay back, whatever. As a young kid, I was doing that. But when I worked my first job, Burger King in Hawaii, I thought I was like a hardworking kid. But when it came down to like stuff I wasn't used to, like the manager was, oh, this kid is lazy. Oh man, I was so upset. I went home and I was like, okay, what do we need to do to get better at this? So, we have our own backgrounds that help mold us to where we are right now. But you guys need to build new habits. Try to develop yourself as a better human being, a better professional. That's what you guys want to be, right? Be professional as much as possible. Whatever you do, especially in this music industry. Because they'll remember you. They won't just remember you because you're like, this girl can sing. But if you're not a nice person, they're going to remember that too, right? So they're not going to hire you again. Always be nice to people. Walk with direction, walk with purpose, shake somebody's hand, look into their eye, when you're talking to them. They'll know that you mean business or you're serious. Now, there's a lot of things that I've developed becoming an artist, but remember this, okay? If you guys are interested in like becoming, getting your name out there, there's simple tools out there for you to, start getting your, what is your stage name? What is it? What is your last name anyway? Tufono? Aaron Tufono. Okay? Aaron Tufono. By next year, I want to see Aaron Tufono all over the website, man. If I Google Aaron Tufono, it should be on the top, okay? So you should have a Facebook page. You should have a Twitter account. Everything, all the basic tools that a lot of musicians have nowadays, okay? Even have your own website. Remember this, bandzoogle.com. That's where a lot of bands go out there and they build their website, bandzoogle.com. Easy way to develop, put pictures on there, put all your audio, your videos and everything. You can go to my website, tinigreatmusic.com, and you can check it out, see what I did to build, but it took years. There's another website called gigmasters.com, okay? If you guys look up ukulele player, guitar player in Southern California, that website is going to be on the top of the list, Gigmasters. And when you click on it, I'm one of the top 10 people, okay? And that's how I'm able to work 300 days a year. People find me, and because you get so much work, you start charging a little bit more of what you want, Now, when I go to the gig, you show up early and you leave late. Over-deliver, You promise something, but you always over-deliver, and they'll refer you to more people. Now, I'm talking about gigging, small gigs, birthdays, and all that, but it starts there before you get to the big stage. If you develop small habits, good small habits, like shaking somebody's hand, walking with purpose, being early, leaving late, helping out, volunteering, and performing at your best ability, like it'll reflect once you get onto the big stage, okay? Because promoters, producers, people who hire you to come and open up for Adele, they're gonna remember you and they're gonna be like, I love this person, let's help her get to the next level. Because it doesn't matter how talented you are, it also matters how nice you are, how professional you are in the industry. Because a combination of all of that really makes the perfect artist, okay? Uncle Tui can blow me out of the water with his guitar playing, okay? Like Vaya can reach all these notes that I could never hit, You could probably sing as soulful as you can, all kinds of stuff. You could probably connect to the audience more than I can, But the thing is, I've also developed a skill, a professional skill, that I'm able to find work every single day. Because that's what it comes down to, right? Not just performing and being hungry. You got to perform and also make a living, because that's what it comes down to. You got to make a living in what you're doing. If you really believe that this is what you want to do for the rest of your life, then you got to think about it like in terms of making it as a career. How much do you want to make? You want to make $5,000 a month, or you want to make $5,000 a day? And that's possible. You can walk into, you can, if you're that good and you have 5,000 people following you, they'll pay $1 each to come and see you at the House of Blues in Anaheim, and that's $5,000 in your pocket right there. Or you want to just go to a wedding, they pay $100 here, or $50 skier. It all depends on what you want. But you gotta start setting your goals in your mind. Develop your work ethic with the small stuff, take it to the big stuff, follow your mentors and all your peers, develop your network, and be good people. I think that's it for me.